Hello everyone, this is Shantanu Bhosle and you are watching Curious Academy, and today's video is related to disaster management which comes in GS paper 3. Recently, there was a report by Moody's that India has the largest number of slums dwellers living in vulnerable settlements in floodplain areas. Key findings of study: over 2.3 billion people globally are affected by floods, and in the global south, 33% of informal settlements, 45 crore people lay in floodplains. And can you guess about India? India's vulnerability. India has highest number of slum dwellers living in flood prone areas globally, 158 million or 15 crore people, which is more than the entire population of Russia. Most of these slum dwellers are settled in Ganga River Delta or cities of high density such as Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata. The reason for them to stay in such inhuman settlements are cheap land and housing facilities. Regional hotspots include South Asian countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan led the slums population in floodplains. Other hotspots include Rwanda, northern Morocco and coastal Rio de Janeiro. Urbanization patterns of slums in the world. Latin America and Caribbean, 80% are urbanized and 60% are of informal settlements. In sub-Saharan Africa, lowest urbanization, 63% of informal settlements are in rural areas. In India, 40% of slum dwellers reside in urban or semi-urban areas. Slums in India. United Nations Habitat defines a slum household as a group of individuals living under the same roof in an urban area who lack one or more of the following: durable housing of a permanent nature that protects against extreme climate conditions, sufficient living space, which means not more than 3 people sharing the same room, easy access to safe water in sufficient amounts at an affordable price, access to adequate sanitation in the form of a private or public toilet shared by a reasonable number of people, security of tenure that prevents forced evictions. Under the Slum Areas Improvement and Clearance Act 1957, a slum area is defined as a residential area where buildings are considered unfit for human habitation due to dilapidation, overcrowding, or lack of essential amenities like light, ventilation, and sanitation. Scale. As per Census 2011, 65.5 million people, 17% of urban population, live in slums across 2,543 towns. In Mumbai, 41% of India's slum population. Kolkata, 32% of urban population in slums. Factors responsible for the growth of slums in India. Rapid urbanization. Urbanization leads to overcrowding in cities, resulting in slums. High population growth. Population explosion increases pressure on housing, leading to slum formation. Insufficient affordable housing. Lack of affordable housing forces low-income people to settle in informal areas. Poverty and socio-economic vulnerability. Low-income groups are forced to live in slums due to economic constraints. Inadequate urban planning and governance. Poor urban planning leads to unregulated growth of informal settlements. Migration for livelihood opportunities. Rural migration to cities in search of work leads to slum formation. Land market and real estate dynamics. Rising land prices push low-income groups into flood-prone areas. Challenges in slum redevelopment in India. 1. Land and ownership and legal issues. There isn't proper land titles or ownership rights to these people. Second, funding constraint. There is lack of funding in these places as they are always vulnerable to floods and water. Logging is another issue in urban settlements like Mumbai and Delhi in heavy rains, and private investment is low due to high risks and low returns. Third, resistance from slum dwellers is also another important issue due to relocation or loss of community ties, livelihoods, cultural identities, resulting in social unrest and legal challenges. Fourth, inadequate infrastructure. Even after the redevelopment, slums may lack basic sanitation, water supply, and drainage systems, which undermines the effectiveness of housing projects. In Delhi, nearly 47% of houses built under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for urban poor remain unoccupied due to the absence of basic amenities like water supply and sanitation. Fifth, political and bureaucratic delays. Political interference and bureaucratic inefficiencies slow down the redevelopment process, with local political forces often resisting changes due to voter concerns, and this is also important issue. Sixth, gentrification and displacement. Redevelopment can lead to gentrification where wealthier residents replaces the original slum dwellers, causing displacement and increasing social inequality. Thank you for watching Curious Academy, and don't like to forget like, share and subscribe.